Alcohol-fueled violence in the city is increasingly prevalent and a great cost to our community. So exactly, what steps or strategies have been employed to deal with this issue?
I'm glad you asked this question. There have been a number of strategies employed by the government and community groups to deal with this issue of alcohol-fueled violence. One of the most controversial in recent years has been the 2 a.m. curfew or lockout. The Victorian State Government trialled this between June and September 2008, and essentially it involves patrons that were banned from entering all-night licensed premises after 2 a.m. One of the aims of the curfew was to reduce the amount of late-night bar hopping, with the suggestion that many of the alcohol-fueled incidents of violence were the result of people moving between venues. Perhaps they were refused service at one venue and went searching for another more lenient establishment.
Well, that sounds reasonable. What was the general response to the lockout?
The lockout was incredibly controversial and was opposed by almost all licensees. In fact, here's what some of them had to say in response to the lockout.
Small businesses are supposed to be the backbone of this community, but the government has effectively wiped up our availability by curtailing our licenses without consultation, and they've handed over our critical revenue opportunities to the casinos. Perhaps we should instill poker machines so they can get an exemption from the lockout too. Yes, let's shift the problem from alcohol to gambling.
Stakeholders clearly weren't too supportive of the lockout, so how effective was this strategy overall?
Well, I think we can safely say that the city lockout was an unmitigated failure, which is the reason it wasn't continued past the initial 3-month period. The government commissioned firm KPMG to examine the effectiveness of the strategy, and they found that not only did the lockout lack the support of stakeholders, but also that the rate of alcohol-fueled violence in Melbourne's CBD actually increased during the period of the trial. Accordingly, the government looked to other strategies, such as increasing the powers of the licensing authority.
And what about regional Victoria? They still have lockouts, don't they?
Well, the lockout concept was actually adopted from regional centres where it worked quite effectively, and it was supported by the key stakeholders there in the local community. As such, lockouts are still in operation today in Frankston and other regional areas such as Warrnambool, Ballarat and Bendigo.
And you noted earlier that the powers of the licensing authority were increased. What is the role of the licensing authority and what powers do they have?
Well, the Director of Liquor Licensing is Victoria's independent liquor regulator. The Director's main role is to make decisions in relation to licensing, whether to grant, revoke or amend someone's licensing conditions. The Director has a broad range of powers under the Liquor Control Reform Act of 1998. And some of the main ones include the power to suspend a licensee's licence for up to 5 days, the power to issue breach notices to licensees who do not comply with the Act. They can apply to VCAT for an inquiry into licence holders, which can result in the eventual cancellation of their licence or substantial fines. They have the power also to declare designated time-out areas, which provides additional powers to Victoria Police to prevent alcohol-related crime. And they also have the power to ban inappropriate alcohol promotions and products.
You speak of bans. What type of promotions has the Director banned in recent years and on what basis?
Essentially, the Director is looking at banning any inflammatory advertisements by venues. One venue had an advertisement along the lines of "discover your inner child" and then "feed it booze." So this sort of campaign was clearly irresponsible and was banned. Other promotions that encourage the irresponsible consumption of alcohol have also been banned. Things like Margarita Madness and Toss the Boss and No Undie Sunday. But the Director doesn't just censor promotion and advertising. He has the power to declare designated areas and then give licensees and police the power to ban people from such designated areas. So keeping the troublemakers out.
That's a pretty far-reaching role.
Yeah, well, the Director is actually just part of a greater government branch coordinating alcohol policy and reform within the Justice portfolio. This branch is known as Responsible Alcohol Victoria, and they've actually produced the following video regarding the use and regulation of alcohol in Victoria.
Alcohol plays a significant role in the lives of Victorians. Whether it's a festival on the lawn or watching the footy, a party with friends or catching a band, a celebratory dinner or a quiet laneway catch-up, Alcohol is an integral part of both our culture and our community. But it's not only in our social lives that alcohol plays a role. The liquor industry also makes a significant contribution to our economy, supporting tourism and generating employment with more than 115,000 Victorians employed in the hospitality industry alone. And with more than 19,000 liquor licences issued each year, the social and economic benefits of responsibly serving and consuming alcohol are clear. But we're also aware of the negative side of drinking, particularly how the misuse of alcohol can impact on our lives. From violence.
One police officer was injured when brawlers started throwing bottles.
Police are appealing for public help to track down a group of men who attacked security guards.
A teenager's birthday celebration has ended in the stabbing death of one of the partygoers.
To road accidents.
A witness has reported seeing the 19-year-old driver drinking.
Police say the mother blew a blood alcohol reading of 0.24.
Had a blood alcohol reading of 0.19.
To self-harm and chronic illness.
70% of the contacts in emergency departments are alcohol related.
Excessive alcohol consumption can cause liver damage.
Teenagers who drink before the age of 16 can permanently injure their brain development.
For me, it's not a moral issue anymore, it's a health issue.
Alcohol adversely affects thousands of Victorians every year. There are more than 8,000 people admitted to hospital emergency departments, more than 700 alcohol-related deaths, more than 50 road deaths, and up to 15,000 arrests for public drunkenness each year. Young people in particular are at risk, with approximately 2,000 alcohol-related assaults. In response, the Victorian Government has developed the Alcohol Action Plan, aimed at restoring the balance between the benefits and the risks of alcohol consumption. It recognises that as a community, we need to acknowledge the problem of alcohol misuse, encourage the promotion of responsible drinking, and support preventative health measures aimed at dealing with alcohol abuse. By understanding this, we will ensure that hospitality remains an exciting and diverse industry with a vibrant role in our community. Everyone has a role to play. Now, it's your turn.
How effective have the initiatives of Responsible Alcohol Victoria been in reducing the problem of alcohol-fuelled violence in our city?
Well, from July 2010 to May 2011, Responsible Alcohol Victoria has overseen 15 criminal prosecutions against licensees. They've issued over 600 infringement notices, completed 2 VCAT proceedings and disqualified 5 parties from the industry altogether. However, as it was noted in the 2010 report from the State Government inquiry into strategies to reduce assaults in public places, regulating the availability of alcohol and regulating and modifying drinking environments are just some of the methods of preventing alcohol-fuelled violence. The report also highlights the importance of public education campaigns. The most visible of these are government television and print advertising campaigns, both at the national and state level. Perhaps we should take a look at some of these advertising campaigns in depth now.
The Department of Justice Victoria created a campaign as part of the Victorian Government's Restoring the Balance Victoria's Alcohol Action Plan 2008 to 2013 called Your Move. The target audience is young males, such as teenagers and young adults. The campaign is anchored in personal choice and advocates that young men need to take responsibility for their mates. Your Move provides implementations of a range of measures to address alcohol-fuelled violence on our streets, in venues, and how to stay safe when having a night out. On the streets, such measures are the introduction of CCTV surveillance, exclusion orders of intoxicated patrons and leaving the premises when told to do so, and also banning notices. The responsibility of venues include tougher laws and penalties, where licensees could face penalties like fines, licence suspension or cancellation for failing to comply, and also the introduction of a team of new liquor licensing inspectors working throughout Victoria. Ran in conjunction with the Your Move campaign, the latest government initiative to curb alcohol-fuelled violence has been created by the newest government partner, Surfing Victoria. The key objective of the campaign is to encourage behaviour change in young men aged 18 to 25 in order to reduce alcohol-fuelled violence in our streets and entertainment venues. The main message they are trying to portray is, real champions look out for their mates. Real champions avoid confrontation and try to make sure their mates do too. Real champions respect everyone's right to a good night. Using a realistic yet highly humorous approach within their TV advertisements, Championship Moves aims in decreasing alcohol-fueled violence. The ads also demonstrate responsible drinking, such as alternate your alcoholic drinks with a glass of water. Some move examples are The Receptionist and also The Lasso.
It takes a real champion to keep their mates out of trouble. Have you got the moves?
Oi! Baby, will you be my lady?
Hey, whoa. Where's Jace? Hang on.
Nah.
You're kidding.
I'm the coolest in the world.
Jace! What are you doing, mate? Wait, you right?
I love you.
It takes a real champion to keep their mates out of trouble. Have you got the moves?
On a more serious note, the Australian Government Department of Health and Ageing launched the National Binge Drinking Campaign, also known as Don't Turn a Night Out into a Nightmare, ran between 21st November 2008 to 30th of June 2010. The campaign's primary target audiences are teenagers aged 15 to 17 and young adults aged 18 to 25 years, where the secondary target audience is parents of 13 to 17-year-olds. The question is, what is binge drinking? Defined by the Better Health channel, binge or heavy drinking is commonly used to describe drinking heavily over a short period of time with the intention of becoming intoxicated. This can be very harmful to a person's health and well-being, as well as increasing the risk of health problems. This can lead young people to take risks and put themselves in dangerous situations. The main objective of the National Binge Drinking Campaign is to contribute, along with a range of existing education, policy and regulatory initiatives, to a reduction in harm associated with drinking to intoxication amongst young Australians. Examples of alcohol-related harm, injury or even death are road accidents, such as the TAC drink and drive ads, alcohol-related violence, whether as a perpetrator, a victim or a witness, for instance the Crime Stoppers ad, We're Over It, trauma-related admissions to hospital emergency departments, unsafe sex and risk of sexually transmitted infection and or unwanted pregnancy, and lastly, social and personal consequences such as impact on families and social embarrassment. Next to tobacco, alcohol is the second largest contributor to drug-related harm. However, the influence of parents and guidance to their children may change the drinking behaviour in future.